You are listening to the Holistic Hormone Podcast. I'm your host, Eleanor Dooley, and if you're seeking a deeper understanding of your body's inner workings, the reasons behind its actions and reactions, and you suspect that your hormones might be at play, you are in the right place, my friend. As a functional medicine nutritionist specializing in holistic hormone health for women, I bring together the latest research, my clinical expertise, and my own personal experiences to create a safe space for you to learn and explore. Just remember, this podcast provides information and inspiration for you, not medical diagnoses or treatments. Always consult your own doctor before making any changes. Now, are you ready to dive in? Let's get started. Welcome to the Holistic Hormone Podcast. I am your host, Eleanor Dooley, and your guide to natural healing and wellness. And today I have a very special guest, a dear friend of mine and alumni I went to grad school and she got her PhD from MUIH, Dr. Glennie Rodford. She is deeply passionate about holistic health practices, specializes in acupuncture, scalp acupuncture, cupping, somatic experiencing for trauma recovery, and a distributor of the LifeWave light therapy, which we're going to dive into today because it's super cool. And her focus is on helping women manage inflammation and stress to enhance overall well-being and improve digestion and just really cultivate joy in their bodies and their lives. So thank you so much for coming, Glennie. How are you?
I'm great. Oh my gosh, it's so good to see you, Eleanor. I mean, we've talked and we've texted before, but to actually see your face is a lovely thing.
Yeah, I really appreciate that because we used to live close together and now we both moved when we used to live back in Virginia. But I invited you on here because I know you have some new modalities for healing. And I used to see you for acupuncture and really just quite a few other things that we just would talk a lot and really encourage each other. So tell me a little bit about your arc here of what you're doing and how you got your certifications and just all the things.
Okay, great. Well, I was born and raised in Western Pennsylvania, so I'm a Steeler fan. Don't hate me because
Yeah, I wouldn't hate you.
I know you don't, but now you're living in Texas, so I don't know if
Yes.
your loyalties have changed or
Oh,
not.
if you grow up in Pittsburgh and you're not a Steeler fan, you didn't grow up in Pittsburgh.
That's
So
right, exactly. So we're both Steeler fans, even though you're
yes,
now living in Texas and I'm living in
yes.
Tennessee. But right out of high school, I joined the Army, and I was in the Army for 31 years, which was not my intention originally, and that's how it worked out. And then when I retired in 2012, I did find my way to Maryland University of Integrative Health, MUIH, and I went through the acupuncture program. First got a master's degree in acupuncture, and then I stayed on for the doctoral degree and finished that up in 2017-ish. And but I started practicing with my master's degree in 2015. So I've been in practice now for about 9 years. I am licensed to practice acupuncture in Tennessee. I am also nationally certified by the National Certification Commission for Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine. And most recently, I became a brand partner and a manager in a company called LifeWave, which is a really cool company that's been in existence for 20 years. And they are in the business of making products for regenerative medicine, which is all the buzz these days. If you're reading anything about natural healing, you're probably hearing about regenerative medicine. And in particular, this company, LifeWave, makes these little patches that look, let's see, can we see here? Yep.
Yeah.
They look a little bit like this, a little bit maybe bigger than a quarter size. And they are a patented wearable light therapy patch. And so,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. Well,
so
yeah,
that's
I
what
want
I'm
to
doing
hear.
now in addition to my acupuncture. So I'm using it as a
Right.
tool for my patients and my family and my friends.
Yeah, I got, you were the first person who told me about them. So, I'm a practitioner, holistic medicine, but when I heard regenerative things, words like that, or stem cell, right? We kind of have a familiarity to what that is and knowing that, oh, that's good. But beyond that, I don't think, the general public necessarily knows what is happening in the body. Is it good? I've heard some controversial things. So can you just kind of lay the groundwork of what is a patch doing to my body? Is there, chemicals in it? Like what's going on
Right.
there?
All really great questions for sure. So I will tell you how this particular patch works. The patch that I'm talking about in particular is called X39. And how does it work? Well, the inventor's name is David Schmidt, and he's not only the inventor of the patch, but he's also the CEO of LifeWave company. And he originally started out by inventing a patch for Department of the Navy for the Navy SEALs. They were looking for a way to keep SEALs on mission for 3 or 4 days without being over caffeinated or using amphetamines. And so he developed this light therapy patch, not X39, something that was called Energy Enhancer. And it became just something that was so remarkable and so effective that special operations forces are still using it today. So that was back probably 2004-ish, or maybe even before that. And then he started the company in 2004 and spent probably 10 years researching and developing this patch called X39. So X39 works in a way that is not dissimilar to when you go out in the sun and the sun touches your skin. The sun is not actually giving you vitamin D. What it's doing is the light is working on your skin, and then that creates a chemical response in your body that elevates the vitamin D that is naturally there. And so it's literally light making change in your body, which is a process called photobiomodulation, a big long word for something that means light making change in your body. And so he thought, if the sun can do that, what else is possible? So, being the brilliant guy that he is, he figured out that if you create something called a nanocrystal, which is made of amino acids and salts and sugars, and you put it on this little patch, what it does is it acts as a reflector of your own body heat and infrared light, because we all emit infrared light as human beings. So this little patch, it doesn't have any chemicals on it. It doesn't have any medicine on it. It's called non-transdermal. That means it doesn't add anything to your body, but it literally acts kind of like as a little mirror or a little reflector, reflecting back your own infrared light at a particular wavelength. And he found out that this particular wavelength of light is able to activate something called a GHK copper peptide. Now, if you're not a scientist, and like I have some science background, but I'm certainly not a researcher, you're going like, well, what in the world is a copper peptide? And I don't know anything about that. So a copper peptide is a small 3-chain amino acid that is in our body naturally. And when it gets activated, it kind of acts almost like a phone line to your stem cells and gets them to work again. The thing that really was remarkable to me when I found out about these patches was that, one, we are created from stem cells when we are conceived. It's the stem cells that grow our tissue and create us as a human being. And then as we are born and we begin to age, then those stem cells kind of change into something else. As we go through our life, once we hit about age 35, we have lost half of our ability to access our stem cells. Our stem cells, by the way, are like the little repairmen in our bodies. So if you have a house and something goes wrong in your house, you call a repairman if you're not handy. And if along the way, your repairman goes on vacation or ultimately retires, you are in a world of hurt and your house falls into disrepair. The same thing happens to your body. As you age, you lose access to your repairmen, which are your stem cells. So by age 35, you've lost half of your access to your stem cells. By the time you get to be 60 or beyond, you've lost virtually all of your access to your stem cells. And so what does that equate to? That equates to pain and gray hair and wrinkles. And when you get injured or have surgery, it takes you forever and a day to heal. Because if you don't have your repairmen on duty, not much gets done. So what this little patch does is it, number one, elevates your GHK copper peptide, which acts then as the phone line to the stem cells and says, hey guys, get working again. And when those stem cells get reactivated and elevated, they are automatically reset to a younger, healthier state. So not only are the stem cells working again, but they're working as if you were 20 years old. And things start getting repaired. Your collagen gets repaired. The joint pain goes away because your inflammation is going down. Your digestion gets better. Your wrinkles get less. If you've got any scars on your body, they begin to heal and smooth out. It's really remarkable, actually.
Yeah, well, I mean, all the way back to the beginning of the story with the Navy SEALs and the energy, kind of parlaying this evolution of healing. How does the average, let's say, woman who's, 40s, 50s, hormonal, she doesn't really have anything particularly wrong, but everything is not great. What would you tell somebody like that? Like, is this helpful? Is this affordable? Like, what happens?
Yeah. So that's one of the things that attracted me to this technology in the first place was that one, it's easy. It's literally like a little Band-Aid. You put it on in the morning, you wear it 12 hours, you take it off 12 hours later. I have a little reminder set in my phone that says take off patch. You throw it away, you let your body rest overnight, and you put a new one on the next day. So it really couldn't be any easier than that.
Mhm.
And it is extremely affordable. A 30-day supply of the X39 patch is $100 plus shipping and tax. So you can't even buy a cup of coffee at Starbucks for that amount of money per
No.
month, right?
Through what, $3 a day-ish?
Yeah, like somewhere between $3 and $3.50 a day for
Yeah.
the X39 patch. So yes, it's very affordable. And what would I tell someone who's in their 40s or 50s who really doesn't, quote unquote, have anything
Right.
wrong or isn't really noticing anything? I think what happens with us as we go throughout our lives is that we have been fed this idea that as we age, we just automatically maybe don't have the energy, don't sleep as well, don't digest food as well. Oh, we're quote unquote hormonal, and that's normal. And I have begun to believe over the course of the past 9 years of being in acupuncture and learning about nutrition and all these things is that that's not a foregone conclusion, that you don't have to feel crappy just because you're 40 or 50.
Yeah.
That there is life out there where you can feel vital and fabulous when you're 60, 70, 80, and even 90 years old.
Yeah.
And I firmly believe, and I've only been doing these patches myself personally for about 8 months. And honestly, at 8 months in, I am like, wow, I forgot how wonderful it is to feel terrific and sleep well and not have colds and not have headaches and, fill in the blank.
Yeah.
So for me personally, I, after about 8 days of wearing the patch, I had no more joint pain. So being in the Army for 31 years, you can imagine I had some joint pain, right?
Yeah.
All the running and the push-ups and everything. But after 8 days, I had no more joint pain, which was really, a great wake-up call for me that said, there's something
And
to this.
so if you take the patch off,
Mhm.
and you go a week without it, does the joint pain return?
Well, I haven't tested that theory, and I would say that it's kind of like probably if you stop taking your vitamins or you stop minding your diet, as a good nutritionalist, you know what happens, right?
Yeah.
You start to kind of slide back down the hill. So I would tell people that, is this something that you do for the rest of your life? Yes, if you don't want to start feeling awful again, like it's a
Yeah,
way to maintain.
exactly. And, that's a good parallel for how I help women, as far as people say, do I have to detox every day? And I'm like, well, you know what? You can stop detoxing when you are not being exposed to toxins. That's the
Exactly.
deal, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yes, we are human beings that age, our tissues age, our cells age, but we regenerate. And I believe that this X39 is a tool for helping good regeneration. We
Yes.
obviously don't want tissue that's damaged to regenerate. Things that grow like cancers and cysts and things that we don't want to grow. How does, I guess, the patch know, right? Like if I have migraines and foot pain and I put a patch on, how does it know, what it,
Yeah. Have to know what to
what I want it to do?
Yeah, exactly. I have this understanding that stem cells are smart, and that when you activate them, they automatically know what is the most critical issue in your body. So if, for instance, you are developing cancer and you don't even know it because you don't have symptoms yet, it's going to go to work on those fast growing cancer cells before it goes to work on your joint pain. So with that said, you may start these patches and you may not quote unquote feel anything for a while. That does not mean that it's not working. It is, in some cases, a very subtle, almost like acupuncture in a way, because these patches are also going to work on moving your energy. They are placed on acupuncture points and on acupuncture energy meridians, which is another reason why I absolutely love these and understand how they work. So, yeah, your stem cells are smart. They're going to go to work on what is the most critical issue in your body first, and then it's going to work out towards, getting to the wrinkles and regrowing hair and doing all
Right.
those kinds of
Yeah, we
things.
don't always know what is the most critical. Even, in detox work, I always tell my clients, I'm like, if we don't reduce inflammation, then we can't see the imbalance. We can do everybody wants the testing and the, how do I fix it? And let me get rid of parasites. And I say, well,
Yeah.
we've got some work to do first, because if we skip this step, you're going to be back at square one after that. And people come to me after seeing 5 and 6 different practitioners and doctors. And I say, well, I'm doing it differently because it
Yeah.
didn't work that
Work
way.
that way.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
And you're so right, Eleanor, that inflammation is the root of all of our ills. And I also learned that inflammation is an eater of stem cells. So if you are endeavoring to elevate and activate your stem cells and you're not minding the inflammation at the same time, it's almost like you're working against yourself or working against whatever it is you're trying to do good for yourself. So yeah, the X39 does bring down the inflammation, and there's also a companion patch called Eon that works on bringing down the inflammation. So when they're used together, it is almost like your stem cells get supercharged. So yeah, it's just remarkable.
and so does it, it's sort of, I don't want to say easier, but if I said, oh, I have diabetes, I have hypothyroidism, then we kind of have a lane from, being in clinical practice. People love their titles and their
Right.
labels. And the doctor told me I have this, so
Yes.
you're not going to be
Yeah.
able to help me, right? And
Right. Yeah.
I love those people because I'm like, actually,
Yeah.
let me explain to
Yeah.
you how the
Yeah.
body works and
Right.
why what has happened in the past isn't working. So using X39, you said Eon. Are there patches that are, for blood sugar regulation, or are there specific ones, or does the X39, check all the boxes?
Well, I would say, and I often say to people that I'm explaining this technology to, I will say, if you could only afford one patch out of the 10 patches that the company offers, your first patch and your base patch should always be X39, because if you're not activating your stem cells for repair and regeneration, all the other stuff is going to be nice to have stuff, and it's probably not going to be as effective. And then you're going to walk away with this idea of like, oh, that technology doesn't work. So you should always, always, always be wearing an X39 patch. And yes, there is one, a great one for detoxification. It's called glutathione. Glutathione is a master antioxidant in the body. You know that. I'm sure you do. You know that better than I do. And the glutathione patch, the remarkable thing about it is that when you wear it, it boosts your glutathione level to 300% in 12 hours. Now, if you were to have a glutathione drip, which they often do for cancer patients, that glutathione drip will only last in your body for 7 minutes. Whereas you're wearing a glutathione patch for 12 hours and you've got this boost of 300% of glutathione. So you're getting the detoxification, and you're also getting the benefits of immunity boosting, which is great for all of us. I always say it's the cootie barrier.
Yeah. So you just had me thinking, okay, I put a patch on, I need glutathione, but the patch is not glutathione. So the patch is actually a vehicle to stimulate my body
Yes.
to make what it needs.
Yes, ma'am. You are
Right.
absolutely correct. There's nothing on these patches. There's no glutathione on the patch. There's no medicine. There's no chemicals. So each patch, depending on which one you're wearing, has a different crystalline lattice structure that will reflect your own infrared light in a different wavelength to activate different chemical responses in your body. So the X39 patch, the lattice structure on it is different from the glutathione, which is different from the Eon and different from the carnosine and all the other patches that are out there.
And so how do we prevent it from making something we don't need?
Well, I would say that the body, we are magnificently designed in a way that, scientists are not even, we're scratching the surface at what's happening in the brain and what's happening in our, you name it,
The
whatever.
miracle of life. Nobody
The
can
miracle,
explain that.
nobody can really explain it. And so, it's activating what is naturally there and what is kind of going to sleep as we age. And so once you get enough, then it's like somehow magically the way we're
Right.
designed, it just kind
Yeah.
of shuts off and goes, nope, we've got enough of that.
Yeah. And I threw you that curveball question because I believe the body knows. The body, it's just like if you sliced your finger, it knows to scab, it knows to stop the bleeding, scab.
Right.
Of course,
To
we
become
help it
inflamed.
along.
Yep. Mhm.
We don't want to make it dirty. We don't want to,
Right.
but the body, and then the scab falls off and we live our lives, right? So we don't have to tell our bodies to stop. Please stop making, I wish we could tell it to stop making so much cortisol sometimes or so forth. But so I love the idea that the technology is not a version of, let's just add more supplements, or let's just add some things that are outside of the body and put them inside the body. I want my body to decide what it needs. And if it needs help doing that, I'm going to help it. But I certainly don't need to artificially do it without have any knowledge of it. So that's why I love these patches. Tell me, I'm sure you have some wonderful testimonies. If you could share with everybody about like somebody that went from, this to that, like what are we really dealing with, like on a day-to-day, like a real person level here?
Right. So I can give you a couple of examples. One is my own mother who just turned 80. She has absolutely awful arthritis. If you saw her walking, you would probably feel her pain. right? Yeah, she's just so arthritic. So I put her on the patches probably 3 or 4 months ago. She was literally living on pain cream every day, all over her body. So we put her on the X39, and I also have her on Eon for bringing down the inflammation. She no longer wears pain cream. She no longer has pain in her hands. She tells me that the best she can describe it is she feels stronger and more capable. And she doesn't take an afternoon nap anymore. And at age 80, that's pretty cool, I think. Um, yeah, so that's my own mama. And I'm
Nice.
really excited for her that she doesn't have to live on pain cream anymore.
Yeah.
One of the senior presidential directors in the LifeWave company, her name is Marcy Preble. When she first found the patches in 2019, she was at stage 4 breast cancer and just was, like losing hope. Someone gifted her, I think, 10 of the X39 patches, and she began to feel something right away. And she got involved in it and just, bought into it. And within probably a year of steady patching, there was, like her cancer was completely gone. She was
No.
getting to look
Are you
differently.
serious?
I'm serious. And now on the website, and the website, by the way, is startx39now.com. When you go out to that website, you'll see probably about halfway down there are before and after pictures. And there's a picture of Marcy, and I think it's a series of 3 or 4 pictures. On the left, it looks like Marcy's grandma. And on the right, it's a completely different person, but all those pictures are of her. She's wearing these dark glasses, dark rim glasses. I mean, it's remarkable. And so that's why she's all in, because she was on the verge of death. And because her stem cells started working again.
Yeah.
And by the way, I think I forgot to mention this, was that copper peptide, GHK copper peptide, was founded by Dr. Lauren Picard back in 1973. So if you go out there and you Google GHK copper peptide, you'll read all about this. It's well studied in NIH and all these other places. But some of the benefits of it are that it is good for chronic lung issues. It's good for keeping fast growing cells or cancer cells at bay. It's good for the brain. It's good for the neurological system. It's good to bring down stress. It's an antioxidant. It, of course, activates and elevates the stem cells, which is why, it's connected to these patches. But in and of itself, GHK copper peptide is the holy grail of healing. So, I mean, it's just cool stuff.
Yeah, it's just amazing. When you allow your body to do the healing, that's the part that is so easily acceptable to people like you and I. We want the research, but we also don't want the job done for us. We want to be able to utilize, because when our body learns and recovers and heals, it can do that again, and it can do that again. And as we age, we just get stronger in those areas. So how do people get this? How do they get access to it?
Yeah. So, of course, I can help. It's one of those things where you have to have someone who is a brand partner to be able to sign you up. These patches will come directly shipped to your home. All we need is a credit card, and we need to discuss, what's going on in your body so that I can help to guide you to maybe the best patching protocol possible based on your time and your budget and your interest in your symptoms and all these things. And yeah, it's super affordable and super easy.
Yeah. Do people call you, or what
They
do you?
do. Yeah, you can contact me either by my cell phone, which is 703-987-4014, or you could email me. My business name is Healing Glenn, HEALING GLEN @att.net. And like I said, the website for the patches is startx39now.com. And lots of good videos, YouTube videos, little short videos that talk about the technology, that are also videos of testimonials from people who have had neurological issues. There's a lady out there who is diagnosed with Parkinson's, and she's successfully using the patches, which is very remarkable. A person with MS, there's a person that's had heart issues, chronic knee pain, stress and anxiety. So lots of different things.
Yeah.
That are
Wow.
helping. Mhm.
Because, if you're not suffering with something this massive, right? Somebody in your circles that are just looking for that little extra thing that they're not getting from their regular doctor. And I'm so honored to have you as a friend and you just as a resource. And I hope whoever's listening out there, this message really resonates with you, because I'm all about showing and sharing alternatives, because we kind of get told it's one way. And that's the way I was raised. And, up and through when I went and learned on my own and had my own education. But especially for women and female entrepreneurs like you and I, we really just are here to help and empower women to take control of the things that they can. And your health and your healing is one of them. So thank you so much for being here today, Glennie. I'm honored to have you. And hopefully, you'll come back again with some other great stories and other opportunities.
I would love it. And thank you for the opportunity. It's so great to see you. Take care.
Yes. Okay. Bye. Thank you for tuning in to the Holistic Hormone Podcast. I appreciate you being a part of our community, and I hope you found today's episode truly valuable. If this podcast meant something to you and you'd like to show your support, please consider leaving me a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Your reviews help others discover this valuable information. Don't forget to stay connected with me on social media. You can always find me on Instagram at holistic.hormone.specialist, where I share insights, tips, and updates to keep you informed and inspired. And if you're interested in exploring my latest programs and resources, head over to nourishingnutrition.net to see what's new and how you can further your journey to holistic hormone health. Once again, thanks for being part of this podcast family. Your health and well-being matter, and I'm here to support you every step of the way. Until next time, take care and stay hormonally balanced.